Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Karen Martel from Karen Martel Nutrition, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the importance of finding your weight loss code when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off. I'm also going to be going through some of the biggest causes of the pitfalls that we seem to run, that most women run into when it comes to successfully losing weight and keeping it off, including sugar addiction. One of the most common things I always hear about is sugar addiction and how to get past that. The food sensitivities and digestive system, emotional eating habits, fatigue. I'm going to be telling you guys about each one of those and what else might be driving those, okay? So as you guys all know, I've got a huge promotion happening where I'm giving away 500 of my signature program, the 30-Day Body Reboot, which is your first stepping stone in finding your weight loss code. So this is what this program is all about. It's running in January, from January 7th to February 3rd, 4-week program. It will include your shopping list, a menu plan. We're doing live interviews with other health professionals. Every week you're going to have me doing live coaching and Q&A sessions, a chance for you guys to ask all of your questions, all your burning questions about your health problems, and for me to answer them. Plus, we're going to have topics each week on different things that impact women's weight, like hormones, digestion, stress management, and of course diet as well. So that's coming up. If you haven't registered, please do. You can register off my site, www.karenmartel.com. Okay, so let's get to today's topic, finding your weight loss code. What does that even mean, Karen? So in today's media world, we are constantly being bombarded by millions of different programs and telling women that the best way to lose weight is to basically calorie count, portion control, and excessive exercise. That is majority of weight loss programs that are out there right now. And unfortunately, they all are based around willpower. And I'll tell you right now, willpower does not work. If your body is going hungry, then you will end up having to eat sooner or later. If not, your body is going to have to lower its metabolism because you're not eating enough food, and then your body will quit losing weight. So I'm here to tell you those things do not work. I always say, look at what our grandmas were doing. Look at what our great grandmas were doing. And I'll tell you right now, they were not using a Fitbit. They were not using a macro calculator. They were not excessively going to a gym and running on a treadmill for 2 hours a day. And there was no obesity rate. So a lot of people don't realize that. It was less than 4% before the 1970s, so low that they actually never kept track of it. Now we're around the 34% of North Americans are overweight and obese. That's huge. So what has happened? What has changed in our world that has created these issues? And I'll tell you right now, what we're told is going to fix it is wrong. Each one of us is so different right now. And we also have, our world has completely changed since our grandmas and great grandmothers, right? We have way different things coming at us at all times. Women in general are far more stressed out than they ever have been. They're being mothers. They're working, the 9-to-5 job, 5 days a week. They're trying to hold down the relationship, maintain a household. This is not normal to our bodies. This is high stress. High stress will be one of the biggest things that will impact your ability to lose weight. And not only that, it will be driving a lot of these things that we're going to be talking about today. All right. So, besides that, we've got toxins. Like, the world has gotten really toxic. So our bodies are constantly having to try to keep up with this, all these toxins coming at us from the air, from the food that we eat, from the chemicals that we use in our household. We have so much toxic stuff coming at us and into our bodies all the time. And our bodies are having a very hard time unloading these toxins because there's just too much. This is also impacting our weight. Okay, we've got hormone imbalance. So 95% of weight loss resistance, which is the inability to lose weight. So here's the woman that's working out 5 days a week. She's supposedly eating everything she should be eating, but yet she cannot lose a pound and continues to gain. I was one of those women. So that is 95% of that is hormone imbalance, you guys. So, and it does not matter if you were going through perimenopause or not. This can happen. It is happening earlier and earlier and earlier right now for women. So I've seen it as young as like 30 years old. I've even seen it in some late 20s where women are having some serious hormone imbalance that is stopping them from feeling their best and also from losing weight. And they just continue to gain. Okay. Also, digestive system, you guys. People are always like, well, what does my digestive system have to do with me losing weight? Well, if your digestive system isn't working well, you're not going to be absorbing all those nutrients that you need to help your metabolism to be running optimally. It could also mean that you have food sensitivities. So if you're constantly bloated or you have heartburn or inflammation in your body, these are all signs that you may be eating something that your body is sensitive to, which then creates an inflammatory reaction, which in turn causes problems with your hormones and then causes you to gain weight. So there's just a vicious circle, you guys. So digestive system is super, super important when it comes to losing weight. We also want to be eliminating all those toxins that I was talking about. So if you've got bowel problems and digestive problems down in that area, you're going to have a problem with eliminating all those toxins. All right. So these are just some of the things that are impacting women right now and are some of the key things that I work with in my practice. So I want to just go over a few of the most common pitfalls when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off for women. These are the things that I hear the most in my practice. First and foremost, sugar addiction. There isn't a woman that comes in here I shouldn't say that. Every other woman that comes in here tells me that she knows what she should be eating. She exercises, but yet she finds herself constantly craving sugar. So in most cases, women beat themselves up for this. They're like, why can't I say no? I have no willpower. This is horrible. I'll never succeed at losing weight because I just want to eat sugar constantly. So quit looking to the food, you guys. Quit looking at it as a willpower issue. Okay? This is totally different than what 99% of women say to themselves, which is they're constantly telling themselves that this is their fault, that it's their willpower. I want you to stop doing that because there's so much more that could be impacting the drive to eat the sugar. So take out the willpower, take out the element of where's my next best diet that's going to cure this issue. Okay, and this goes for everybody. Quit looking for this perfect diet that's going to come along and it's going to solve all of these problems. Because I'll tell you right now, if you don't get to the root cause of these issues, the food will never work. Changing your diet will never work. Okay, so sugar addiction. Sugar addiction can be caused by a number of different things besides willpower, all right? So first and foremost, sugar addiction is hugely emotional. Sugar gives you this amazing payoff of feel-good hormones when we eat it. When they've actually measured in the brain the chemical releases that happen when you eat sugar, it is the exact same as when somebody does cocaine, okay? So you may not have the chemical addiction, but the payoff of the hormonal system, letting go of all those feel-good hormones, is the same. So when you're sitting there beating yourself up, like, why can't I say no to the sugar? Think to yourself, this is like the cocaine addict that everywhere he goes, there's cocaine for him to have or her to have, right? That every cupboard they open, it could be lined with cocaine. And when they're out in the restaurants, they see just cocaine everywhere. Imagine how hard that would be for the addict, the cocaine addict, to say no. So this is what we're having to see every single day in the shop, in the grocery stores, when we're shopping. Sugar lines the shelves. And if you have a sugar addiction, that's extremely challenging to say no to when it's in your face 24/7, right? And we get this little payoff, all these little payoff. It's actually a big payoff. And the more you eat, the more you need to get the same payoff. Very similar to drug addiction, right? So if, let's say you'd go, and I know this because I've gone no sugar I've gone for 6 months with no sugar. And then I remember what it tasted like the first time I ate it again. And it was sickening. I had a headache. I felt like I was going to throw up. I tasted like I just spooned sugar into my mouth straight up. And it was horrible because my sensitivity was so much stronger for the sugar. So the more you eat, the duller those senses become. The less of a payoff you're going to get. So you need more to get the same payoff. So the sugar addiction will continue to get out of control for many people, right? So there's your first, and so we have to, just like the drug addict, why are we needing the feel good payoff, right? And you can't just think you can remove it and for everything to go away, because you're eating that sugar for a reason. So it's more about finding out why you need the payoff. Do you have happiness coming from anywhere else in your life? A lot of people don't nowadays. That is their only source of feel good happiness, feel good hormones coming at them. So I always say, if you're going to remove that and you've got nothing else that's making you happy, well, it's a matter of time before you're going to go back to it. So remember that. You have to find the root cause of why you need the feel-good payoff, and then you need to replace it with something else that is going to make you feel good. Not drugs or alcohol, though, okay? Or any other unhealthy addiction. I encourage you, and especially for women, to find a daily self-care practice. This works wonders for women. Just taking that time for themselves where they're going to be feeding themselves in some way, not literally, whether they go for regular massage, or they take time every day where they take an hour to themselves to maybe walk outside in nature, listen, read a good book, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat. It's something that is for you and brings you happiness. The other thing you could do is get to the root cause of it, which maybe you're in an unhealthy relationship, maybe you don't like your job. These are the sort of things that I want you to look at, instead of saying, okay, where's the next best diet for me to fix my sugar addiction? No, get to the root cause of the issue instead. Okay, so besides that, sugar addiction can be things like underlying infections. Candida is a really big one and very, very common, where there's an overgrowth of Candida bacteria in the gut, and Candida loves sugar. I've seen this so much in my practice, where they don't have any of the emotional hangups, and they've got, they're trying so hard to eat well, but they still continue to crave the sugar, and it's because they have an underlying Candida infection. And Candida just tells your whole body, it just screams for sugar. So you have to kill off those infections. So I suggest obviously working with a health practitioner in order to get to the bottom of things like that. Parasites is another one. Parasites are far more common than people think they are. That will drive sugar addiction big time. So as you can see, there's other little things that could be, it could be your emotions, it could be the underlying infection, it could be that you're just toxic. And another huge one, of course, is stress. I know 100% when my stress is getting too high, because I start craving sugar. So I know it's always my big signal, my big flashing signal that says, Karen, you're too stressed out because you're wanting to eat sugar. And I cannot say no to it. And it's like, after everything I eat, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want something sweet. I know if that goes on for too long, and it's not around my period, I know then that I have to lower my stress levels. I start taking my stress supplements. I start, taking time for myself. I cut back on my work hours, do whatever I have to do. And I go through this crazy cycle of it all the time. Like every couple of months, I'm like, oh, okay, whoa, I'm craving the sugar. Got to pull back on my stress. So stress will drive sugar addiction. Okay. And it's also because, like I said earlier, it is that, like, it gives you the feel good hormones, right? So stress it's stressful. So when you get that little payoff, it feels really good just to have your body just feel like that happiness for just momentarily, right? So look at those issues instead of looking towards your diet on that one. Another one is food sensitivities. So if you're bloated and you've got skin rashes, you've got an autoimmune disorder, you've got inflammation. These are all signs that you could have food sensitivities. And once again, people just think, okay, well, I'm going to look to the next best diet to fix my problem, when that might not work for you, because everybody is different when it comes to what they're sensitive to when it comes to the food. So it's really important to, eliminate all the high food sensitivities so that your body's able to lose weight. So this is another big misconception, because one of the popular kind of mainstream medical diets that is out there is basically eat your whole grains, have lots of beans, have lean meats, low fat, all of which could be the worst foods for if you are suffering with digestive problems and food sensitivities. So you need to look beyond what everybody's telling you, and you need to say, okay, what foods could be bothering my stomach? In the 30-day reboot, we go through this. We eliminate all those foods, those high food sensitivities, and then we reintroduce them one at a time, because it is so common right now for women to have food sensitivities. There isn't a woman that I have not worked with that I've worked with that doesn't have at least some degree of food sensitivities. Okay? So it is way more common than you think. So besides that, fatigue is another really big one, right? That is kind of I don't even know how to describe it. So women, if they come in here, so let's say Jane comes in here and she says, oh, I'm so tired, Karen, but I'm overweight. I know I need to exercise. I know I need to eat better, and tell me what I need to do. And I'm like, you know what? You need to just get your energy back first. And sometimes we need to forget about the exercise for a period of time. We need to keep the food super simple. We need to keep the amount of prep work going into it super simple, because you need to just go step by step and wait till that energy comes back again. I always tell women, if you're so tired you cannot get your ass off the couch to exercise, then don't. Change first the way you're eating. Slowly but surely change what you're eating so that your energy comes back. Get to the root of the problem. A lot of women have iron deficiency. That's super, super common right now. And one of the biggest causes of iron deficiency is digestive health. So work on the digestive system first. Work on getting that going. Work on maybe taking out those inflammatory foods. Inflammation will cause fatigue. Getting to underlying infections will help with fatigue if there is some. Then worry about, all the great, amazing meals that you could be cooking and the exercise that you want to be doing. That will come. I always say that will come. You will feel suddenly like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to exercise. It happens to all of my clients when given the chance. If they heal their systems first, that will come naturally. That energy will come naturally, but it's about finding the cause of that fatigue first. Right? So instead of beating yourself up and thinking, oh my gosh, I need to be going out there and exercising or I'm never going to lose weight, you're wrong. You need to deal with what you're putting in your body first. You need to figure out why it is you're so tired. The reason you're so tired is not because you're not running on a treadmill every day for an hour. I'll tell you that right now. So those are some of the kind of main complaints that I hear from women, and those are the complaints that they tend to turn to the next best fad diet for. And this is just a different way of looking at it. So like I said, I am going to be giving away 500 of my signature program, the 30-day body reboot, in hopes of you paying it forward and donating to a very special cause called Because I Am a Girl Foundation. So if you are interested in joining the program for January, you can go to my website, www.karenmartel.com. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can also find me at Karen@karenmartel.com.